Konami Collectors Series Castlevania Contra was a compilation disc released in 2002 for the PC. The disc contains 5 classic games that originally appeared on the Nintendo Entertainment System: Castlevania, Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest, Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse, Contra, and Super C. Now, I've heard rumors and claims that the disc also contains the NES game Jackal as a hidden bonus game, but having searched the disc several times over, I've no indication to confirm this to be true. Also, there wasn't anything available online that could viably prove this to be fact outside some vague mentions and murmurings on various web forums. So as far as I'm concerned, there is no Jackal on this disc. If you believe otherwise, and you have proof of this, then show me it's there, because otherwise, as far as I'm concerned, it's not there. But in any case, I could really care less because I have Jackal in my NES library. But then again, I also have the other 5 games in my NES library, so why did I pick this collection up? Because at the time of purchase, so that would be 2002 by the way, I didn't have a working NES and all my NES games were stored away in a box, never to see the light of day ever again until my recent acquisition of an FC Twin game console in 2007. Also, I'm the kind of guy who would pay for a collection of games that he already has the originals for. Don't believe me? Check out my review of Super Mario All-Stars Limited Edition for the Wii. That should be clear indication of that fact. So, what you are getting with this collection are 5 old-school NES games collected onto a CD-ROM, with additional save state features and a PDF instruction manual showcasing all 5 games. In other words, you're getting a glorified emulator program with built-in ROMs. People might be crying foul over something you could get off the internet for free, but I don't mind the purchase. If anything, it saves me the trouble of having to fumble through the settings to get a solid playing experience. Navigating through the options is simple enough. You could store up to 5 save states per game and tweak the controls to your liking. There isn't much in terms of more detailed technical options, but there isn't really the need for such things. It's nice, it's simple, and for the most part it works. That's all I could really ask for my emulator programs. In any case, the emulation for these games are pretty spot on. Everything plays the way they should on the old, and pretty much the same way they did on the old NES, with little to no changes to the actual games themselves, outside of some updated copyright dates and some minor text alterations in Simon's Quest, which includes the correction of the word process to possess whenever you acquire a Dracula body part. However, they didn't fix the typo in a pair. No, can't win them all, I guess. In terms of presentation, the menus are static and nothing special. The in-game customization menu will have this red type in that generic Arial font. It's nothing fancy or anything. As far as the games themselves are concerned, the graphics and sound are practically spot on in comparison to the NES versions. Whatever emulator is running here manages to make the game look pretty sharp and nice and cute and pretty in full screen resolutions. Something I've had issues with on other emulator programs that I got off the internet for free. And the sound is also pretty crisp as well. This is really, really good stuff. The package is pretty bare bones though. There isn't really much in terms of extras or unlockable content. There aren't any alternate versions to be accessed here, like I know there's like alternate versions, like Japanese versions, they're not on here. You're just getting the 5 NES games on CD-ROM and that's it. At the time I bought this, I figured this was enough, and even today I don't see what more you could add to the collection to make it any better. I mean, if the main complaint people had with this compilation is that you could get this stuff online for free, then what was the point of complaining about what's lacking? Chances are if they added illustrations or wallpapers or something to that extent, people would still complain because that's stuff they could get online for free. It's a product that can't really please everybody. Besides, if your main complaint about this collection is that you could get it online for free, then I'd have to ask, what the f are you doing watching this to begin with? If you're into Castlevania or Contra and are willing to fork over money for this collection, then it's certainly a worthwhile purchase. 5 classic NES games on your PC with a top-notch emulator for a conveniently low price? It's not too shabby, son. This especially looks good when you connect your PC to a big screen television and enjoy Classic Vania or Classic Contra on your couch. Of course, if you already own the NES originals, then there's probably no reason to pick this one up again, since they're the same games, except for slightly better picture quality. If anything, this looks a tad better than it does on the Virtual Console, which appears a bit dark. Otherwise, if you got a few bucks to spare, why not? Go for it. What's the worst that could happen?